Hello everyone. Today we're going to be setting up MariaDB master with 4 slaves, and we're going to be using Docker. So right now what you're going to need is Docker, obviously. You're going to need MySQL workbench so we can check the status of our containers and that they are connected, and then we're going to do some examples with any database manager that you like. I'm going to be using dbeaver. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead, open a command prompt, and we're going to just pull this image right here. There's going to be our MariaDB image. So it's going to be Bitnami and MariaDB. So you're going to be downloading the latest. I already got it. So the next step will be to create our master and slaves. I have here the commands to create a master and 4 slaves. So a very quick rundown to this. It will be, this is the name, this is gonna be the root password for your master. The replication mode is gonna be master. The user and password can be anything that you want in here too. And this is gonna be your database name. I'm putting test right now. You can put anything you like. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a master here, and there you go. We have the master created, and now the slave, it's basically really similar. We're just gonna be changing the port here. If you see, be careful with this. Change the port for each slave and give the port of the master here so it can connect to it, and change the name for each slave too. Remember that you don't want a slave to have the same name as another slave. Then here we go. We're gonna have the master is gonna be master, replication mode slave, any user, any password that you like. You can change these for any of the replicas. You're gonna be the master host master, and in here you want this password to be the same as the one of the master for the root. Be careful with that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and create our first slave, and here we go. We have our first slave. I'm just gonna go ahead and create 2 more slaves. Well, 3 more slaves. So there we go. And let's create the last one. And there we go. If you don't like to use in this interface, you can just go ahead and put here docker ps a, and you can check them there with their IDs and the ports here. So now we have everything up and running. So let's go ahead and test this. I'm gonna open MySQL workbench, and we're gonna do some examples here of the connection. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this as master. We're gonna be opening up this connection. Remember the port of the master, that's the port, so we're gonna be using that one. So this is the password of the root. So let's test the connection, and we're good to go. Oh, if you see the same warning, it's totally fine. Just go ahead and continue anyway. So we have now a connection. I'm gonna make a connection to the slave, to one of the slaves. So let's say to this one. I'm connected to this one then. So password is gonna be the same. Let's test the connection. We're good to go. And I'm gonna create it for 1 more. But you get the idea. You have to do this with all the slaves. You're gonna test the connections. And there we go, we're good. So let's try this one. And you can see here in the server status, everything is fine. we're good. You can check here to the host and the container ID. As you can see, this is the master, and it has the same ID. And this is not a replica, so this is the master. You can, if you name it something else, I don't know why, but you can see here that this is not a replica and this is the master. And if we go to a slave, let's check the status, up and running. This is gonna be the first slave, and we give it 7. So this is gonna be the ID, and you can see it's the same. And in here you're gonna see that it's waiting for master to send event, so you know that this is a replica. And the same with all the slaves. It's gonna be the same thing. You can check the IDs too. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same for all the slaves. So now that we have this up and running and we know everything is connected, let's try making some tables and columns and see if they actually work. So for that, I'm gonna be using my Beaver manager. Okay, so I'm gonna make our first database. I'm gonna use MariaDB. I'm gonna be connecting to our master first. Let's test the connection, and we're connected. And this is the connection for our master, if you can see the port. And you can see in our database, there's nothing on the tables. So I'm gonna create 2 more slaves, and you can do the rest. And there we go, we're connected. And we're gonna create 1 more. Let's test the connection. Okay, we're good. There you go. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and go into our tables. I'm gonna create a new table. You can call it anything, it's just an example. I'm gonna create some columns. ID and username. Okay. So we're gonna save these changes on our master. There you go. This is your SQL. So persist changes. And now if we check our slaves, they should be updated too. There you go. This is our first slave. And this is our second slave. You can see they have anything that we put on the master. There you go. Users, ID, username, and it's replicated on these 2 slaves. It's gonna be the same for these slaves too. It's quite self-explanatory. You can do it yourself. You can try it out for all the slaves, but it's the same process. So now we have everything up and running. I hope you liked the video and it helped you understand the replications and how Docker is pretty amazing to do this with containers, and it's pretty easy and fast. So thanks for watching.